Hi there, this is Matt with State of Flux here with a review for Steel. But before I get to that, I'd like to draw your attention to my State of Flux 31-day horror movie challenge. This is a special journal with 31 unique writing prompts that challenges you to watch a specific movie and then critically engage with it. For example, the first film of a major celebrity, you will always be asked three questions. Who made it, what works, what doesn't? But then I get down to the specifics by asking questions specific to that movie, such as, does this film offer a glimpse at this performer's range? If you like to critically analyze movies, you're watching a review right now, this might be the film journal for you. I have some other ones that I want to be doing down the pipeline, assuming this one sells well. So if you like film criticism, check this out. It is available through Amazon. The description is in the link below. The link is in the description below. Anyway, back to Steel. This is a continuation of my examination of the DC film archives. This was the last DC film of the 90s, coming out the same turbulent year as Batman and Robin. And while this one isn't quite as fun as Batman and Robin, I think you'll have just as much of a good time in the it's so bad it's good sense. Shaq has more of a screen presence than I think Michael Jordan does. Yet Space Jam we hold some kind of reverence for, my generation. We don't hold anything that Shaq touched film-wise in that same level of reverence. Yet I would watch this movie any day over Space Jam. And it's not due to nostalgia. I watched this for the first time about a year ago. So it's not like that's something that lingered with me from childhood. This is just, frankly put, a more enjoyable movie to watch. Now, don't get me wrong. I sound like I'm really on support Steel mode, but I'm not. It's kind of laughably bad, but it's those laughs that make it count. This is not a good movie. I think the filmmakers on some level knew that. When you're trying to give a new generation Man of Steel, but are so afraid of committing to the Superman of it all, you're kind of already in the wrong boat. This film deserves scope and completely lacks it. This movie offers an engagement with the viewer and the filmmaker, where they know that you're there to see an action movie about a giant 7-foot man who's going to pummel people in a giant steel outfit that he fashioned himself, or with his version of Alfred. And we kind of get that, but we get that a la the TV of the era. And this would have been a very acceptable, if not well-regarded, TV movie, I think. It stands equivalent, and I hesitate to say this, to things like Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, and Xena Warrior. You know what? It doesn't, though, because those had a scope, and those had well-choreographed action. This movie doesn't. It just kind of lands with a thud, but in a really engaging and watchable way. Again, not as engaging and watchable as Batman and Robin. But, yeah, it's a curious movie because it's not good, and it's not a good adaptation, because never once do they ever acknowledge Superman. In fact, they take the S off the chest. If you're not familiar with the character of John Henry Irons, he is a character in the comic who would rise up and take over for the Man of Steel when Doomsday killed him in the Superman comics of the 90s. All these Supermen kind of came out of the woodworks, or the steel mill, and they took up his mantle. And I was shocked that they actually made a movie of this character. I remember when it was coming out, because I was invested in comics to some level at that point, and I was impressed, but didn't see it, honestly, because they took the S off the chest. That just rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, if you're going to be Superman, lean into it. And this movie doesn't. It saps any ties it seems to have with its DC counterpart. They have a character that's clearly Oracle in this movie, but they never give her the moniker of Oracle. That is something I do want to touch on. That character and the Shaq, John Henry Irons character, are never romantic interests. They're purely platonic best friends, and it's refreshing to see a man and a woman being exclusively that, just friends, and nothing romantic there. They're just there to support each other when each of them have had hardships to endure. I really did like that aspect of the movie. But I'm singing the praises of this movie, even though it is bad, far more than I kind of intend to, because it really isn't good. I would give it like 1.5 or 2 stars. It's not a good movie, but I do think it's an okay time. And if you wanted to pair this movie with other superhero movies of the time, a Batman and Robin, a Spawn, which I think came out within weeks of this movie, you could have yourself an interesting time. And this is the perfect movie to watch with a group of people who are committed to watching something but having fun at the expense of whatever it is they're watching. This is kind of the perfect movie for that. It's not good. This is probably the worst thing DC had put out to that point, yet I would watch this any day over Superman 3 or 4 for that matter. So, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Let me know what you think of this film in the comments down below. Peace.